My parents forbade me from entering the basement room my entire life. When I finally opened it after they died, I discovered the truth they'd been hiding since the day I was born. I was never allowed in the basement. My parents' rule was simple and absolute: the basement door stayed locked, the key never left their possession, and I was never, under any circumstances, to step foot on those stairs. As a child, I accepted this the way children accept many things they don't understand. I thought maybe the basement was dangerous, maybe it was filled with chemicals or fragile items. Or maybe it was just a storage space my parents didn't want me snooping through. But the older I grew, the stranger it seemed. They were obsessive about it, not just firm but fearful, like the idea of me even touching the door sent shivers down their spines. I'd catch them exchanging looks whenever I asked why. Their faces tight, their voices clipped. "It's not for you," my mother would say. "Leave it alone," my father would add. The conversation always ended there. When I was 16, curiosity overwhelmed me. One night while they were out, I tried to pick the lock with a hairpin. I'd seen it in movies, thought maybe I could be clever about it. But the lock was heavy, industrial, nothing like the flimsy locks on bedroom doors. I failed, and when my parents came home, they knew somehow. My father's face went pale, and my mother grabbed me by the shoulders so hard it hurt. "Never again," she hissed. "Do you understand? Never." I didn't try again after that. Life went on, and I grew used to the basement door being just another piece of the house, like a wall that couldn't be moved. When I moved away for college, the house and its secrets faded into the background, but years later, when both of my parents passed within months of each other, I was left alone with the property. Returning to the house was strange, like stepping into a museum of my childhood. Everything was preserved, even the locked basement door. Only this time, the key was mine. For weeks I avoided it, telling myself I was too busy dealing with legal documents, selling assets, organizing funeral arrangements. But the truth was simpler. I was afraid. Afraid of what I'd find. Afraid of what it would mean. Eventually, the fear turned into a gnawing need. One night, I poured myself a drink, sat in front of the basement door, and stared at it for hours. At midnight, I slipped the key into the lock. The click of the tumblers made me jump, loud in the silence of the house. The smell hit me first as the door creaked open, damp and metallic, like rust mixed with something sour, something that clung to the back of the throat and made it hard to swallow. I flicked the light switch on the wall, half expecting nothing to happen, but a dim yellow bulb flickered to life somewhere below, casting long crooked shadows across a steep set of stairs. My hand gripped the railing as I descended, each creak of the wood sounding unnaturally loud in the silence. The walls narrowed as I went deeper, the air growing colder, pressing in on me until I felt like I was walking into the throat of some great beast. At the bottom was a concrete floor, rough and stained in places with dark patches that my mind immediately, and willingly, interpreted as old blood. The basement was larger than I imagined, not just a single open space but divided into sections by heavy wooden beams and partitions. I saw tables lined with tools, some familiar, like hammers and pliers, others strange, twisted metal instruments whose purposes I couldn't guess. On the far side of the room were shelves filled with boxes, each labeled in my mother's neat handwriting with dates stretching back decades. My stomach churned as I approached one, opened it, and found stacks of notebooks, each one crammed with lines of writing. The entries were meticulous, dated weekly, detailing maintenance and containment routines, though they never specified what was being contained. The deeper I read, the more frantic the handwriting became, as though whatever they were recording had begun to erode their sanity. My heart pounded as I turned and noticed something else, something that had been hidden in the dim light, a door within the basement itself, metal and bolted, its surface covered in deep scratches as if something had tried to claw its way out. A low, almost imperceptible hum seemed to seep from behind it, vibrating in my bones. Against all reason, I approached, pressed my ear to the cold steel, and froze when I heard it, the faint rhythm of breathing, slow and deliberate, not mechanical, but alive. I stumbled back, while rising in my throat. Because my parents were dead and gone, the house was empty, and yet something was inside that room. My mind raced through impossible explanations, someone they had imprisoned, some deranged family ritual. But the more I thought about it, the more the puzzle pieces of my childhood fit together in grotesque ways. The bundles they carried, the monthly visits, the noises in the night, all of it led here. I nearly fled right then, but a part of me, the same reckless part that had tried to open the basement as a teenager, demanded to know the truth, demanded to see what my entire life had been shaped around hiding. On the wall beside the metal door hung another key, larger and heavier, and before I could stop myself, I grabbed it, my hands trembling so hard it nearly slipped from my grip. I hesitated, chest heaving, every instinct screaming at me to leave. But the silence in the basement was unbearable, pregnant with the weight of whatever waited. Slowly, I slid the key into the lock. The mechanism resisted, stiff with age, then gave with a groan that echoed like thunder. I pulled the bolts back, one by one, each clang reverberating through the concrete chamber, and finally the door eased open, releasing a rush of air so cold it burned my lungs. The room beyond was dark, the light from the basement spilling only a few feet inside, but I saw movement shifting, slow, deliberate. I fumbled for the dangling bulb just inside the threshold, pulling the cord. Light flooded the space. And what I saw will never leave me. A figure crouched in the corner, thin and contorted, its skin pale as ash, stretched taut over bones that jutted grotesquely. Its eyes, enormous and reflective, blinked at the sudden brightness, and its lips curled back to reveal teeth far too sharp, far too many. And yet, God help me, it looked like me. The resemblance was unmistakable, the same jawline, the same dark hair, though twisted, exaggerated, monstrous, as though I were staring at some warped reflection. My knees weakened, my breath caught, and before I could react, the thing spoke, its voice raw, raspy, but unmistakably human. "Daniel," it said. Hearing my name from its mouth shattered something in me. My parents hadn't kept a prisoner. They hadn't hidden a monster they'd captured. They had hidden something born of themselves, something born of me. The creature shuffled forward, the chain on its ankle clinking, tethered to the wall by a length of iron. "They promised you'd come," it whispered. My mind screamed denial. But the words in those notebooks returned to me, entries about containment, about feeding, about rituals of care. My parents hadn't been guarding me from the basement. They'd been guarding the basement from me, or perhaps guarding me from my twin, a twin I never knew existed. Locked away in darkness since birth, questions tore through me like fire. Why? How? What was it? But above all, one thought repeated with relentless clarity. I should not have opened that door. The thing moved closer, its chains rattling, and I stumbled back, my heel striking one of the tarps. The tarp shifted, falling away to reveal bones beneath it. Dozens of bones, stacked neatly, arranged with sickening precision. Human bones. My stomach lurched, and suddenly I understood. The bundles, the monthly trips. My parents hadn't just been feeding it scraps. They had been feeding it people. The notebooks confirmed it when I flipped frantically through the later pages, the handwriting barely legible. Entries detailing procurements, rationalizations about necessary sacrifices to keep the creature contained. They had devoted their lives to keeping this secret, to keeping it hidden, to ensuring it survived. And now, with them gone, the responsibility had fallen to me. "You're free now," the thing whispered, pulling at its chain, the link straining. "Let me out." My hands shook as I backed away, but another part of me, a part I didn't want to acknowledge, felt the pull, the strange connection that thrummed in my blood. It wasn't just my twin, it was part of me. My parents hadn't just been hiding it, they'd been hiding what I might become, in the shadows of that basement. As the thing stared at me with my own eyes, I realized the truth they had buried since the day I was born. I wasn't meant to be alone. I was meant to be two. I fled the basement, slamming the metal door shut, locking it, bolting it, my breath ragged as I stumbled up the stairs, into the cold night air. But even as I gasped for breath, I knew it was too late. I had seen it, had seen me, and its voice still echoed in my skull, soft, insistent, promising that one day I would return. Because the chain that bound it wasn't the iron around its ankle, it was the blood in my veins. You enjoyed the video? Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this.